Here are some of the finished pieces. Well, not finished, but they've been glued together with our silicone, and they're holding together real good. This is just a base that I will glue stuff onto and put details and whatnot on there. Obviously the silicone is holding quite well, and hopefully it will turn out to be superior to the hot glue, hopefully. And the way I achieved all this is by taking the paint sticks that are free from Home Repo and put it around so it was a nice tight squeeze. And you just squeeze the shit out of the silicone. This is a non-paintable silicone. That bears repeating. I have a non-paintable silicone, and what you should be using is a paintable silicone. At Walmart they sell this. This is silicone 1. It's actually labeled silicone 1 in most cases, but you want silicone 2, which is the same stuff, but it's paintable, so that you can, paint it and whatnot. If you do get a buildup of the silicone, you can peel that right off once it's dry, or when it's wet. If you want to paint over or whatever like that, you can take a wet rag or even just your finger. A wet rag works better because it leaves a really smooth seam, and you can work all the the silicone down into the cracks, and it makes it really smooth, especially on the finished product. You'll probably see a lot of that on the finished costume. On this one, this being the basic beginning of a crotch piece and belt, you can see I have sandwiched the strap between separate pieces of the foam, and I've shaped it so it's somewhat crotch-like. I got to make some trims there, but even though foam is, it's really responsive to heat and all that stuff, I wouldn't try to bend it much in this situation because it's already two pieces are together. There's no way to alter it at that point. But there is a big space here, so if I wanted to bend it there, he didn't bend it there, it would work out, but that doesn't really. I might do that, we'll see what happens. But you can see how easy it is to shape the foam, and it keeps the shape pretty well. The silicone works real well. I mentioned before that I'm concerned about the hot glue failing in the heat. I'm still concerned about the silicone failing, but I will be sandwiching the material between two pieces like I did here. So you've got a strap that's sandwiched between pieces of foam and just silicone to death, so it's not going anywhere. And one important thing to keep in mind, this is not metal. I've worked with metal and even cardboard in the past. Metal is heavy, and it made it where I couldn't work more than 6 hours was a big day, with a metal suit. It was usually more like 4. But this stuff is so lightweight that it's just nothing. It weighs nothing. There's nothing there. And I'm hoping to get more hours per day out of it, and I'm hoping that the build will be faster too. Anyone that's built a metal suit using metal making, if you've used a brake form with rolls of coil or gutter coil or metal trim, valley trim, any kind of metal, and had to use the brake, you're probably familiar with the amount of time it takes to bend each piece and fold them over and all that good stuff. So this is certainly much easier to deal with than the metal. The problem is, of course, the edges of the foam come out looking like this. The Dremel helps, sanding it down helps, but when you do your wash with the glue, with the wood glue, we'll get to that later, it will fill a lot of the areas that are all crappy looking, and that's a factory edge, but you can see how they're all chopped up like that. On the finished product, you can fill a lot of that with wood glue, and several coats will make it all go away. I've pre-cut some pieces for some other areas, and you can see how rough the edges are here. and you don't want that to be visible on the edges of the suit. And even though the wood glue will cover a lot of that, you'll see that what I will do is, even though these basic parts will be included, most parts will have an angle cut, angled away, so that the part you can glue them together. I have a couple of demonstration pieces already right here, or at least one demonstration piece. Alright, and basically what happens here is, you can see I have more of an angle cut here. It's just a rough cut, but you take the two pieces and you glue them together. This is important to understand. I hope you can see this. The lighting is not the best out here, but once you get that seam, if you've cut those angles somewhat correctly, it doesn't have to be perfect, you get that seam and then glue it together. Once you get the glue and the wash and the silicone on there, you're good to go. It's going to look really good. You're not going to see those edges. So you need to find a way in your design, and you can look at all the other armor designs and stuff here on YouTube and the different armor building websites and whatnot, and keep in mind that cutting those angles is what's going to keep you from having a garish looking, design. These big, rough looking edges that are not attractive.